Hello, everyone, and welcome to MIC TV. Today, we're going to be discussing paralysis by analysis, overthinking your music career. I'm your host, Greg Ferriola, along with my partner, TJ Peterson. And again, if this is your first time joining us, TJ and I would both like to welcome you to the MIC community. Please, if you are watching for the first time, whether it's you're watching live or on one of the replays, just say hello in the chat. Let us know who you are, where you're from, what kind of music you play. You want to give us links to your stuff. We would love to go and check it out. Just make sure that you add us. This will make sure that we can kind of see everything that you are posting. We will respond also to any kind of questions or comments you have. And with regards to all right. Also, too, before we get started on today's presentation, if you ever are in need of anything, you can find us at our website, www.musicianindiecoalition.com. TJ will drop that in the chat now. Our site has some great resources for musicians, so check it out when you have a chance. And you can also see all the ways that we can work with one another should you need help with your music career. And that is all the intro stuff that we have for you today. Now, today's topic is going to be relatively short, not a whole bunch of stuff to go over, but it is a really important one. And again, we're going to be discussing today paralysis by analysis, overthinking your music career. Now, throughout all the shows that we've done, we discuss all the different aspects of your music career and how to go about building one, from planning it out to developing your brand to releasing music. And we spent a lot of time emphasizing the importance of thinking before acting. And again, having a clear plan of what you're trying to accomplish so that you can maintain your focus and make continual progress in your career. Now, before you begin pursuing a professional music career, it's absolutely important to create a plan and think about how you're going to go about achieving your goals prior to taking action. But as with most things in life, too much of anything isn't good. Although you do need to create a plan, and you don't want to actually overthink the things that you are going to do to the point where you're continually take no action, or what is called paralysis by analysis. Now, planning is important. So that you have a clear direction and specific goals that you're trying to achieve. But once you have those things, the only way to actually achieve those goals is by taking action. Yet a lot of musicians get caught up in their creativity or choose to stay within their comfort zone. So it's very easy when you're like that to get very hyper-focused on something or fall victim even to your insecurities. In fact, it's a very, very, very common occurrence for artists. Now, when I was pursuing my music career, I would get caught up in a lot of different things. When I was writing song, I might struggle with writing lyrics, and I don't mean writer's block. I mean, because everyone has that. I mean, I get hung up on whether to use the word and versus but. And I'd obsess over it for days or maybe even longer. And then when I would be recording, I could spend days trying to get just the right guitar sound for my instrument. And the right around a reverb on my vocals. And a lot of artists that we work with go through the same exact thing. Now, part of that stems from wanting to create the best music possible, which is great. But part of this also stems from the fear of sharing your music with others, or whatever project that you're working on. And that's completely normal as well. But when you're going through those things, you need to ask yourself why you're spending so much time on that one thing. Is it for artistic reasons, or are you stalling potentially for another reason? Now, again, TJ and I will spend a lot of time pointing out some of the common mistakes musicians make, with the most common one, again, being, acting without planning. So again, today's kind of a reversal. That being said, having the courage to just do something without worrying about the consequences is actually a really valuable trait to possess. Part of me is extremely jealous that people that will and can just act, because having no or a low amount of inhibition gives you the freedom to do or try anything. However, they do still infuriate me, so don't worry about that, because it's what bothers me about people that just act is the fact that, if they just spent a little time planning, they could be unstoppable. But with no plan, you really do kind of just go in a bunch of sporadic different, places that really just wind up leading to dead ends because you don't have some sort of overall strategy. But having that ability just to kind of, hey, I'm going to go up and I'm going to plan a show without really thinking about how I'm going to get people there or anything along those lines, great trait to have, because it just gets you fired up and it keeps you moving and doing things. Now, when it does come to paralysis by analysis, we briefly have already mentioned some of the reasons behind why this happens. But the truth is, it happens to everyone in different ways because you're unique. So the things that hang you up aren't necessarily what are going to, maybe paralyze other artists and bands when they're working on their careers. However, what I can say is this: based on my own personal experiences, I believe creative people have, experienced paralysis by analysis because of their creativity. In my opinion, and I'll say this a lot to the members that we work with, creativity is the highest form of intelligence. So if you're creative, you're, in my opinion, the smartest people in the world, because you're basically creating something that's never been ever in existence, and that's really hard to do. It doesn't mean you have to be school smart or anything like that, but if you can create something unique and original that hasn't been created before, that people like, that you enjoy, that in my mind is the highest form of intelligence. But the problem with the creativity is it's a double-edged sword. People that are super creative, like musicians, are also smart enough to recognize the consequences that lay before them when they're going to build their music career. And it gives you the ability also to imagine an infinite amount of negative outcomes with every decision that you have to make when you're going through your career. Outcomes that can cause you to feel completely paralyzed. The good thing is, almost all the time, these sort of manifested fears never actually come true, but they can still be a problem if you don't address them. I used to spend endless hours thinking about all the possible outcomes of a decision that I needed to make, but I never, or at least very rarely, have I ever actually imagined what wound up happening. Which means that all the time I spent worrying about whatever it was I was worrying about was a complete waste of my time. Now, with that in mind, we are going to give you 2 quick tips to prevent paralysis by analysis, because it really can be a big hangup. Now, the first tip that we are going to give you is include others in your creative process. And yes, if you've been watching any of our shows, this goes back to the feedback loop. Now, by including others in your creative process and getting their feedback, you're going to be less likely to overthink things, because you won't be relying solely on your point of view and your opinion for whatever it is that you're working on. Now, this process, also getting feedback, has a lot of other benefits as well, music is meant to be collaborative, and you should be collaborating even if you're a solo act. Find other artists to give you their point of view on stuff, talk to your fans, talk to your family members, but don't live inside a creative bubble. Embrace collaboration with other people, because it's going to save you time and provide you with the reassurance you need, that you're moving in the right direction. Again, like TJ and I work a lot of times one-on-one with artists, and I can't tell you the amount of times that he and I both will listen or speak with an artist, and they're continually saying, I'm almost done with this. I just want to tweak this track just a little bit more and just a little bit more. And like, they'll go back and forth on that sometimes for months. And like, not to slight anyone for their creativity, but it's more important to start sometimes just getting the music out there, get feedback on it. You can always update it and change it later, but it's important for you to be continually acting and doing things so you can move past where you're at in your current career. Now, the second point that we want to make here is, if you're inspired to do something, there's little financial risk, and I'm going to stress that again, and there's little financial risk. I mean, you're not going to break the bank for whatever it is you're going to do. Just count to 3 and do it. The sooner you dive in, the sooner you'll begin to learn what works for you and what doesn't work for you. You'll also be learning what things your audience likes and what they dislikes. And learning these things are what will move you towards your career goals and towards transforming your career into what it is you want it to be. And learning these things are what, your job is all about. I mean, at the end of the day, your job is to not build yourself a career, is to learn what career you're going to create and how to actually go about the process of doing that. Learn what your audience likes, learn all the things you like, and turn that into a business that makes you happy and makes them happy, and that you can reproduce day in and day out. So the key thing here is most of the time when you have a great idea, you don't act. It's like, oh, that's a good idea, I'll get back to that. No, if you think something that's really going to impact your career and you're not risking a ton of money, just do it. Start getting feedback, start getting it out there, start getting people's opinion, because if you have this idea and maybe you spend like a week or two developing, or a month or two developing it, and then you release it, and then you find out no one really likes it, or they don't even like the concept, then you just wasted all that time. But if you have the idea, tell someone about it, get their feedback, or just start doing it, and seeing how people respond. So once you have a plan and you're confident and feel good about the plan, act. Now, another way to think about this is, and a phrase that we usually use with the members that we work with one-on-one, is ready, fire, aim. And we say that because the fastest way to hit a target isn't by aiming for a long period in time and then shooting. It's by firing and making adjustments as quickly as possible. So as soon as you start shooting, you can see your progress and you can start making adjustments to get yourself closer to the target. Whereas if you aim for a while, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, even a few minutes, and then take a shot, then you're like, that person that's already been firing, it's already hit the target and done. So don't be afraid just to act, as long as you have a plan. In short, in general, to be successful, you need to be willing to make mistakes. And a plan with no action is no plan at all. It's just a good idea. So dive in, make mistakes, and learn from those mistakes, because as the saying goes, mistakes are the stepping stone to success. All right. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for showing up today. Again, if you ever need anything, you can visit us on our website, musicianindiecoalition.com. In the meantime, everyone have a great day. And remember, we're always here to help you should you need it.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching. If you're looking for expert help with your music career, schedule a call with us today. Or you could enroll in one of our free artist development programs. The link for both can be found in the description below. And please don't forget to subscribe. Your support really matters, and we appreciate any help that you can give to the work that we do. Have a great day.